I think it's really strange that Australians haven't caught on to the Reserve Bank and the truth about the Reserve Bank. You don't have to be a conspiracy theorist to see through the government's BS, for essentially a better word. Rate rises won't stop until it meets the inflation out of step target, which is about 4.5%. Philip Lowe, the RBA chief, said he was slow to react, that he should have raised rates sooner in line with inflation. The reason being is, so instead of paying to support business and jobs and having the money to support your family and all the rest of it, you pay the banks. That's it. They want to, anything above 3%, they want you to pay the banks that money, not anyone else. So the rate rises will continue until either the inflation turns the corner or they meet the current inflation target. They don't want you paying anyone but the banks. And you know what's funny is, if we're paying more for our home loan, like you'd be paying more for groceries or bills and stuff like this, it doesn't count towards inflation. Isn't that convenient that you can pay the banks more money for a service, which is like owning your home, having a loan, but it doesn't count towards inflation? So where does all that extra money go? That's the question. It's just funny that we as Australians and like many people around the world, we have zero say, zero control. We can't say, no, sorry, I'm not paying you that much more interest rate wise. Why would I do that? When I borrowed for my house, I paid this amount then. Why isn't that amount fixed for the life of the loan? I mean, generally speaking, when you borrow money from somewhere, it's borrowed from somewhere else. That's in theory the way it works. So you should have a fixed interest rate, right? Apparently not. So you can write to the RBA, as I have done, and you can ask them, hey, why do you guys do this? What's the point of view? And the point of view is that, well, if you pay the banks all your money, then you're broke and you can't spend it on goods and services, which supposedly cost more than usual. Thus, those companies will make less money because they'll sell less goods, thus lowering the demand. And then if you lower demand, they'll lower their prices. Great. So in the meantime, all the banks can get rich and post record profits, which they do every single time this happens. Meanwhile, you have people like Anastasia Palaszczuk in Queensland here, doubling speeding fines. You look at how much it costs for all our licensing compared to New South Wales and a lot of other states. The RBA can control the private industry, but nothing that they do will have any control, or like it'll never adjust any of their government services. So if they keep putting up prices, which every council and whatever has the excuse of the consumer price index of 2.5% supposedly, which used to be 2%, I might add, wages don't rise. We have people like Albanese creating all these new special things for like domestic violence leave and all that. Great. Who pays for it? Not the government. Private business, corporations. Like, they're just running our country into the ground. The RBA should be dismantled and abolished immediately. It should have been done a long time ago. And the government should hire X amount of financial advisors who have never had anything to do with the bank to come up with a way to control inflation correctly, not to make the banks lots of money. We could kick all the banks out of the country and start a new bank. There's no reason that Australians... I mean, if you're a Prime Minister, how do you stand by and let it happen? I mean, they're just gutless. They're just literally in power to serve their term and then retire on the government pension that they'll get for the rest of their life, not doing anything for the people. Like, you know what's funny is you see all these protests about all these different things, yet nobody is protesting the fact that we're just screwed. We pay so much in tax and we're all just supposed to accept it. Like, police don't even need warrants to enter your homes in Australia. Yet in America, they spend a lot of time talking about this First and Second Amendments and the right to protect themselves and all this. And in Australia, we have nothing. We are just have to be good little sheep, and God forbid anyone thinks differently, they're deemed what? an extremist, or it's like, no, the government has overstepped and they continue to overstep and nobody's doing anything about it, and it's just wrong. It's just flat out wrong. So don't be surprised by rate rises, because until it reaches the point of where the interest, the inflation rate currently is at, it's going to continue. He said himself they were slow to get on it. They want it to match. They want to take all of your money to match. That's it. They don't want you spending anything past a certain amount. It's wrong. And the thing is, it's kind of, in my opinion, it's going to be hyperinflation. So I reckon by August we'll see a what do you call it, a reversal. I think you'll start to see interest rates fall, because most of the RBA data is 2 months behind. I mean, as it is, it's February, and they'll be basing it on December's financial statistics. Sure, they supposedly factor in lots of different FPOS things as far as they can to current day, but yeah, no, like handing all of your money to the bank and the government just standing by and saying, well, that's how it is. Like, it's like everything else, they just pass the buck when it comes to the Australian government. Not our problems. That's how it is. That's how it is. That's how it is. I'm sorry, but we need a prime minister like Donald Trump was for the United States. We need someone to come in and make all of the changes to all of the different areas to help the people. It's just not okay. It's like it's illegal in this country until it's not. Same with most countries. It's like, well, the councils used to be illegal. Now we have to pay them. And if we don't pay them, they could repossess our house and our land. Wow. So even, you work hard to earn money that really doesn't hold any value, because they print as much as they want. It's not based on the value of gold held in the country anymore. Only to have some illegal faction that's now legal have the ability to take it. It's a big round circle. It's a big round circle. And all of the media and that, they're all useless. They don't report nothing for the people. They don't fight for the people anymore. They're just puff pieces. And yeah, people need to wake up. I'm not sure what we can do about it, but if you're going to protest something, this is the thing you'd protest. I remember the GST, I believe, was supposed to have personal tax removed. That never happened. Yeah, you could work hard all your life. You could be a good model citizen, and you can still get screwed by this government. People live their lives, and that's all you can do is take care of your family, work hard, buy a house, try and get out of being in the shit rental situation and whatnot. But I wouldn't say this country is great. Sure, it doesn't have guns and we don't have school shootings, but to think that we have our rights respected and that we have the freedoms here, that's a myth. Yeah, I feel sorry for a lot of these people who have overspent buying houses, which they wouldn't have had any choice on, because houses rose significantly, and now find themselves in a really bad situation. In my household, we were smart. We didn't overspend, and we used that low interest home to pay ahead, and we only bought to a level that we knew we could take care of, to 7 or 8% sort of range. So we're all smart in that aspect. We tried our best to prepare, but there are a lot of people who didn't. There are a lot of people who got stuck in buying a house in the last 1 or 2 years and overspent. And I feel sorry for them, because there's going to be lots of families who lose everything. And for what? For record make profits. And you're going to have a Prime Minister sitting here talking about what an Aboriginal voice in Parliament, and it just astounds me, the amount of Australians that fell for his nonsense and voted him in. And as far as I'm concerned, it's just a rich white man's club in politics, men and women. None of them are doing anything for the country. Every year we get new restrictions, new laws, new fees, new increases. We don't have anything improved. We don't have less taxes, lower everything. And the thing is, we have more and more people, so they collect more and more money. Yeah, it really, it's hard for people to move forward, like to want to work, to want to buy a home, to want to start a family. They're not making the country better, and we need someone to get in and not be afraid of the factions in the government. Like, what's happening in America is happening all over the world in terms of governments and the police and all the special, people in the RBA, and rather the way people think about the RBA needs to change. We need to abolish the RBA. I don't know their full basis of what they do, but when it comes to handling inflation, that 100% needs to be removed from the RBA's control. And it's not like the governments don't make enough money through taxes. They do. They just need to stop misusing people's money. It's like, what did I see the other day? Joe Biden was talking about how billionaires should pay less tax than a school teacher. Well, that's fine. I agree that rich people should pay a decent amount of tax as well. It would help countries and help debts. However, to say that is great, and all the people will agree. But the problem is, you can't trust a politician. You can't trust a prime minister. You can't trust a president. And in Joe Biden's case, and in any president or politician's case, well, if you want to tax the rich and that's fine. But the problem is, governments around the world are all known for misusing that money, giving themselves pay rises, granting things that don't exist, etc., etc. So you can't make one argument and then screw everyone. And I don't post this for attention. I'm posting this video for the simple fact that I'm Australian, that I've worked the majority of my life. I am a homeowner, and I don't believe in getting screwed by a government for any reason. I think we pay taxes. We do our best to abide by as many laws as we can that they set. We try to be just a regular citizen in society. And I think the government needs to stop stepping on our fucking freedoms and start respecting the fact that we do as much as we can for our families, and we abide by their rules, and we pay their taxes. And they need to respect how hard we work. They need to respect the assets that we work hard to get, not just expect that they're going to take everything from the people. If I don't want to pay a council fee because they're not doing their job, then stop picking up my bins. I pay to drive on the roads. That's not a council thing. So no, they can't come and take my house. If a police wants to enter my house for no reason, they should need a warrant. It's basic things that should happen in this country. The Reserve Bank, we're paying a lot. So don't take all our money and make the banks richer. That's not going to help anyone. And I understand their role is purely to try and drive the costs down, but that's through controlling capitalism, not taking our money. So that's my rant. I'm not a fan of anything going on in this country, not on council level, not on state level, and not on a federal level. In my opinion, all we do is vote in the next dictator. And case in point, nobody's held to any promises they make before they get into power. There's just the excuse, well, that's just how it panned out, and we couldn't control that. Well, guess what? You should be forced to resign. You should be kicked out of your job. If that's what you said to get in and you didn't do it, then you should be kicked out. An early election should be called. There's no accountability anywhere in the world right now for anyone in politics. That's nuts. So I'm hoping that the Australian people put down their ego, do their research, and vote accordingly. Don't vote because you dislike someone without seeing what they've done or haven't done. Look through history. A lot of people didn't like ScoMo, but you know what? He paid a lot of people when they were forced to stay home, and people just threw that out the window. It's like, yeah, he wasn't perfect, but when you look at Albanese, yeah. Either way, we need, well, the world needs a miracle. That's how I see it. And the only way we can try and bring about a miracle is if every single person starts to fight back, starts to voice their opinion, starts to explain how they're unhappy. And that's what I want. I want to see people fighting back. It doesn't have to be in a violent manner or anything like that. But you got to let your voice be heard. You've got to express. Don't just sit back. Don't be just a good worker who's like, well, I'm financially okay at the moment. Yeah, you are until you aren't. And as we've seen what's happened over the last few years, like, the world's gone pretty nuts. So fight. Voice your opinions. It's the only way we're going to start to get change happening. You have people like Jordan Peterson and Elon Musk, and we need more. Just more and more and more people. And we have a platform for it. Before the internet, nobody had a platform for it. Now we do. So we need to use it.